Good evening and welcome to this week's Black Mental Health is Black Health. I'm your host, Ms. B. Bronwyn, the Black Couch Therapist. And as I say, I'm here to help you become a better you. And tonight we are talking with Jackie Tatum, and we're going to find out about knowing your history, genealogy. But before we get started, we take 3 deep cleansing breaths. It's the end of the day. You probably need a deep breath just to decompress and just be able to focus. So let's get started. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. One more. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Whew. How was that breathing for you, Jackie?
Well, it's always refreshing.
Yes.
My brain says, thank you.
Yes, you gave more oxygen to your brain. It can think a little more clearly. So awesome. So tell us just who you are and tell us something cool about yourself.
Well, my name is Jackie Tatum. I retired after 42 years in 2013. I'm excited. And I guess what I would like to tell you that you don't know about me is I love doing nothing, but I enjoy doing something, even if it is nothing.
Okay, say that one again.
I love doing nothing, but I enjoy doing something, even if it is nothing.
I got that.
Yeah,
now, see, I got it better on the second
nothing.
time. And
Yeah,
I can attest to that. I can agree with that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I like that.
Yeah,
well, tonight we are going to talk with Jackie about genealogy. And I will tell you why I chose this topic. And she can definitely hone in. We think about how history is being erased from the history books, but it doesn't have to be erased from your family. It doesn't have to be erased from your mind. The oral tradition is so important. And we think about history in the grand sense, but how many of you know your family history? And that's what the study of genealogy really does. Well, I'll ask Jackie. Jackie, exactly what is genealogy?
But genealogy is an account of just the descendants of a person's family or group from ancestors or from older forms people. A genealogy is the study of, the study of genetics, which is the DNA that's in your body. However, there's a lineage there. And, even the Bible has a lineage. It tells who beget, who beget, who beget. And why is that important? It must be important because it is been written many, many, many years, and it has worked. So a lot of us come from our beginnings, and that's important to us.
It's so true. And we don't know, most of us don't know enough about our family history. Some people are really versed in it. But man, you talk about people because families become so separate. And we don't even know about our own generation sometimes.
Yeah, and I just want to throw in this much of it. Even though they're erased in history, you have to understand they are trying to erase their history, not our history. Our history cannot be erased. We're the only ones can erase our history. And one thing I know about history, we always have a fear of talking about it or knowing about it because of the good, bad, and the ugly. However, the ugly is what makes us proud, or it teaches us a lesson, or it shows us which way that, let's just go with it teaches us a lesson. The ugly is not ugly. The ugly teaches us.
It's so true. I totally agree with that. And with that, well, how did you even just get into the study of genealogy itself? What sparked that interest?
Well, to be honest with you, I went to the graveyard when I was in high school with my dad, and I was trying to look at the people, and I kept going like, oh, who is that? I never heard of that person. Who is that? And so, and and let me get you straight. I do believe in there's a gulf between the living and the dead. Let's understand that. But I do believe the ancestors do speak to us in an unknown way, only familiar to yourself. And I got the weary, eerie feeling, and I chalked it up to being, get out of here. You know not of us. Go learn of us. Go learn of us. And at that moment, I started talking to my older cousins, the neighbors and all in that area. And I learned a great bit. And when I went back to the cemetery, that's what had me excited, because I went around, oh yeah, and this is so-and-so, and this is so-and-so. And my cousin said, how you know that? You don't know them. I said, I do know them. I know them. Because, they tell you stories. As they mention a name, people will tell you stories. And then you start feeling those stories, and they become a part of you. And that's what really did my do. And I went and at that moment, I started writing this little book, telling all about our family and all of that. And found out that I had two of the uncles that I had put on the pedestal because they was in church. My daddy was an alcoholic functional, but great. I'd take nothing from him. But these were nice guys, in the church, doing all the deacon stuff and all that, things that you think that, the pedestal men is supposed to look like. Well, all in all, I found out they had children during the time they were married. And they were not their wives' children. And that disappointed me so much. It took me 10, almost 15 years to finish the little pamphlet or the book that I did write. And what encouraged me to write it was my dad and my uncle said, baby, just finish it. Forgive those that have, that did what they did, just finish it. That's just the ugly part of the family. And so from then on, I realized that the ugly does not mean ugly, bad. It means ugly teach or taught. Now you know better. So, but anyway, that's what sparked me, and that's what got me into it. And as I went on and I went to school and I love psych. I love psych. I love mental health. And I learned that if you can look back on others and you see patterns, see patterns in your own family. And that is so, so very important. But let's not think about just the mental health part of it. Let's think about the heart conditions. Let's think about the different conditions that you could have that are related to someone else that had. I have a lineage right now that I'm working on, a family lineage in my family. However, all of them had stomach cancer. And that is so interesting to me. And so the more I get into it, the more I enjoy it. At one point, I was just pulling the death certificates just to look and see the date of birth and the date of death. And maybe who was the informant or who was the mother and father if it was given, because sometimes it's not.
Right.
However, when I could see the death and what caused the death, natural causes is not a cause to me. Because we're born to live. Yeah, we're born to live. So I have to ignore that. And I start talking to other people and they would tell me, oh, I think that they had this and they had that. And I write it down as I think they had or whatever. I don't make it concrete, but I look at the pattern of the other family members. And I think that that's what makes the difference when you know that you can say, okay, well, my mom had blood pressure problems. What can I do to prevent that? Don't get me wrong. They are what we're called in the medical field essential blood pressure problems. But I don't believe in it. I think that God has given us everything that we need to combat anything that we have in the dirt. And we have to do that. We have to learn how to eat. And if your mom had blood pressure problems, doesn't necessarily mean you have to have it because it's essential or because it runs in the family. Doesn't mean it's okay. It means that I have to do better. And those are the taught lessons that we learn.
What you're saying is so important, just about the what we learn about ourselves based on what we learn about our family, our mental health, our physical health. And in the mental health area, we can know that there were family members, for instance, who suffer from depression, but we didn't call it that. And after all, Black folk don't have mental health problems.
That's right. That's right. We
Um,
don't do that.
but they would do such and such, and we would tell these stories, and you find out that, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I do that too, and realizing that, yeah, grandmama had depression. And
Right, right,
so we can,
right.
and the physical health we can find out in those patterns is so important. And the more you study genealogy, your own family history, you can
Mm-hmm.
learn, like you say, you found out, wow, stomach cancer was on this branch of the family. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't know it until you actually studied it, and you get in, and it's like, oh, it might not stop some things, but maybe it can have you get tested for something earlier. It's like,
Right,
all the
right,
males in this line had colon cancer. I'm not waiting till I'm 40. I want to get tested at 30. You know,
right.
and I've actually seen that's an actual person I know. And they were early detected in their 30s but it was because so many men on their father's side had colon cancer, and they had to fight to find a doctor that would even you know,
You
do the
test
test.
them at an early age because the
Mhm.
insurance did not pay for that.
Right.
And so now, girls can get tested at 17 if they have a pattern of breast cancer in their
Mhm.
family. And so, and even in let's go with breast cancer, even if there's a male in your family that had breast cancer, they didn't know what it was, but they did do surgery and they still didn't find what it is because they didn't accept the fact that it was breast cancer because he's a male.
Mhm.
And so those are the things that you have to consider when you think about genealogy and you think about genetics and you think about it's the way that we are built or the way that we are made up. But I wanted to mention one thing for sure before I get, and I guess I should wait, but I'm gonna go
Yeah,
ahead and say
go
it.
on.
To,
Good. What do you
to
want to
know, okay, to know who you are, it is very essential to understand your sense of self,
Mm.
which comprises your thoughts, your values, and your unique identity, such as we are all wonderfully made. A healthy sense of self allows you to live with clarity and integrity, making decisions that reflect what truly matters to you, such as the change of pattern, the watch the behavior and those type things. This understanding is crucial for navigating life's challenges and fulfilling your purpose as it shapes how you perceive your successions and failures, your success and failures. I said succession because those are the people that come behind you, but it's also the failures that you have made. You can help your succession, your people that follow behind you by changing your pattern, your behavior,
Mhm.
so that they can see that. So, but anyway, that's all is a part of genetics, and it makes a difference because, like you said, Brown, that depression is not what we have. We don't have. You just feeling sad today. Well, if you're feeling sad 5 days a week and you're not getting out the bed and you're not taking a bath, and I'm not talking about when you get old enough to not have to take a bath because you don't want to, but I'm
Mhm.
saying because you're young and you're not doing anything. And it's the same thing when I said, when you can enjoy yourself doing something, even if it's nothing, that makes a difference than doing nothing and being doing nothing. So
Mhm.
those are things you have to watch out for yourself, not only yourself, but your family members and your friends. And because your friends are your family by love, it may not be by blood, but it
Right.
is your family. So you have to consider them as a close knit because I don't know. My parents, I think that they use everybody was our cousin as a birth control method for us. I don't know.
Mhm.
But anyway, we couldn't deal with our cousins because they were our cousin. You get older and you find out they're really not related. But
Right.
but it
But
worked
by
for
then
us.
they become that family, as you said, family by
That's
love.
right. Not
You
not
know,
their family members.
and that's an interesting thing. Even when we look at genealogy and we were thinking about our own family, but
Mhm.
family is a broad term. It includes
It
those that
is.
are biologically connected with us, as well as those that are emotionally connected with us. That is our family.
That
And
is
it's
our
funny,
community. That's our
yes.
community. Yes.
And when we study genealogy, this is just a thought I had as you were saying that there is a sense of, I'm looking at genealogy in just in the history, form of it, but we medical, mental, but it's a history of who you are.
That's
There,
right.
I'm thinking even studying genealogy like of your community,
Yes.
in terms of, by that I mean this is a community. I grew up on the street Wentworth, and we knew everybody on the street, and it was a dead end street. And meaning, you could only one way in. At the end of the street when we were going up was a field. We just called it the field. Nothing there but grass. And you could go play there, but you knew everyone on the street. That was a community. Right. And when that there is a genealogy in the sense of a history of that community and the families in that community. Am I overstepping when I say that in terms of a community genealogy?
No, you're not, because it is true. It's what is genetics on is how it's made up. What is it made up of? If you stand on a street where everybody on the street is drug addicts, have you ever thought about studying that? Why is everybody on this street using drugs? Or a family, everybody in this family is using drugs. Have you studied that? There's a reason for all of that. And that's part of the ugly that's not ugly, that is teachable. And so you want to take those as teaching moments. Okay, you don't have to do that because so-and-so did that. Or let's go. We don't even have to go into drug addict. Let's go. A kid in school that's TATUM, that speak with a different type of slur or speech that could be corrected by a simple clip of his tongue in his mouth. They will give him a clearer speech. But mom don't see anything wrong with it because Uncle so-and-so spoke that way. But just because Uncle so-so spoke that way don't mean it's right. So what can we do to help this child?
Right.
And possibly you can go and talk to Uncle so-and-so and he'd probably tell you, I wish somebody did that for me. You don't know because you think that it's okay because that's the way it's always been. And that's who we are. Everybody in our family speak like that. Well, that doesn't make it right.
True. So just because our family has a pattern doesn't mean it can't be improved upon.
That's right. Improved.
And that's about learning and growth. Right. I want to say one more thing about community genealogy. When you said that about everybody on the street might be a drug addict, look at the history, what's going on. One thing that has been proven, there are certain areas, neighborhoods that are called cancer clusters.
Right.
And it has been linked to different things leaked into the soil and all this. And so when
the railroad,
the genealogy of a community, looking at that, it can help. So I brought up that to say, when we think about history, whether it's our community history or whether it's our family history, you talked about the ugly. Those are the things that we're ashamed of. And even certain illnesses, now we don't want to say so-and-so has cancer, they just say it. But when you begin to say in terms of community genealogy, you had somebody had cancer there, somebody had cancer. Wait a minute. There are 9 people on this block that had cancer and there are only 12 houses here. And you begin to see. And even in families, there are some family members who don't want to say they had cancer. They were, you don't want to say it. But then you realize, man, your family is a cancer cluster, so many different kinds. It might not eliminate you from having cancer, but it sure might make you think and look deeper into it and get screened for different things earlier. So knowing whether it's your community or your family genetically, yes, knowing that connection, I think can be very important.
Yeah. And it makes a difference. And that's why I tell people, when you talk about family trees, and then you talk about genetics, to me, they're one and the same. If you build up on that, because I think everybody needs to know who their family members are. And I don't mean just a pedigree. I mean the branches on the tree. Because like twins, sometimes twins skip a generation. And so you may have twins in your family. You may not. Oh, well, it won't happen to me. You might have twins or you might have triplets. Because those are things, are patterns that we have to study as a family. And because we are so broad spread until now. Before, people used to live and die in the same community because that's all they knew and they didn't branch out. When families started branching out, family members started to get lost. Because when you have a family member and they move to California, well, Back in the day, a 15-cent stamp was not a 15-cent stamp. It probably was 3 cents, but 3 cents was a little bit harder to get hold to. But now we have the telephones. We have, and the Bible speaks in Revelation of there's going to be a time when something's going to happen on one side of the world and you'll know what happened on the other side. And if that's not fulfilling itself, y'all got to tell me something different, because there's no reason family members cannot be in touch. And I don't care if you don't take but 1 month, 1 day out of a month and sit down and text all your family members that you hadn't talked to in 2 years. Hello, just checking in. That's it. Let them know that you're still living, that you're thought of, that they're thought of. And if you would do that, that'll make you feel a whole lot closer to your family. It's a shame at how many people stay in different areas and say they have no family members.
But there are people that stay in the same city.
Or the same city, have no family members.
And that becomes, part of that is because families, some of it you just move and you lose it. Others, that we allow things to happen and separating. When you think about mental health, because I always tie everything to mental health, even not being able to connect with your family. When I say it can be a mental health issue, it could be hurt. Hurt is a mental health issue. It could be legitimate things. There are some families that have done some horrible things and you're hurt and you can't connect, or just misunderstandings because you don't communicate and talk. How people harbor a misunderstanding. So many things can get in the way and make family take that away. And so we don't have that. But I wanted to ask you this. When we think about genealogy formally, how does one, if somebody says, well, I really don't know my family tree, I want to go study it. What are the steps? What are some things you can say to help people learn how to study their family tree?
What's interesting is that you said that is because the first thing you do, if you sit down and you write down your mother and your father, all your sisters and brothers, you just do that. And then you think, well, if this is my mom and dad, who was their mom and dad? You just think. And then all those, that mom and dad had brothers and sisters, and those sisters and brothers had brothers and sisters, and you start writing, and that's how you begin your tree. Don't ever get overwhelmed with that, because it's a possibility you can. But what you want to do is just start out just for what you know. Just write down what you know. And then you fill in the blanks as time goes on. And I would take 30, I could say this, but I know it didn't happen that way. But I would say take 30 minutes a month and say, well, I'm going to find out who all my mom and dad, sisters and brothers were. Okay. And all you have to do is go to familysearch.org. Family Search is free. Don't cost you a dime. Just have to sign up, put your email up there. They don't bother you. They don't write you. They don't ask you for money. They don't do any of that. Unlike Ancestry.com, if I'm telling you to go in there for 30 minutes and you're paying $40 a month to use that site, that wouldn't be wise, because you need more time. Not only that, you can use Ancestry.com in the public library, and it's free. So keep those two places in mind.
Now, what was the first one? What were those two?
Familysearch.org and Ancestry.com. Familysearch.org is free. Ancestry.com costs you money. You can, and I think they give you a year subscription if you do the DNA or whatever. I have never done the DNA. I have no desire to do it. I will one day, maybe. I've been doing this, 30 years, 40 years now. I have no desire to it. I've seen a lot of hurt people behind DNA because they find out that they are not who they thought they were, and they were hurt. But I tell people, before you do that, make sure you're ready.
Right.
Make sure you're ready to accept what you find out. And anything that you find out from you as a kid is not your fault.
True.
You did not pick your mama and you didn't pick your daddy. Anything that they did, that's on them. That's not on you. You are here to live your purpose.
But you are correct that so many people are hurt by, and it might not be on them when they find out, and they might want to reach out, or your DNA is now out there and someone reaches out to you. So there are, and those are some things people should consider, when you do that. So let's say you compile this family history and you have, you've done the searches, you got into it and you were doing, 2 hours a month because you got so into it, because it's easy to do. You do 30 minutes a week. You can do hours and hours.
Yes,
what
you
are
can.
some ways you can, how do you protect it? How do you preserve it? Because, now you might have just little notes here and there. Are there some suggestions you would have for people to preserve this?
Family Search has forms that you can use. They call family groups. And that's why I say Family Search is wonderful. You can print it, don't cost you anything. You can fill in the blanks. They also have it where there's a family tree on there that you actually fill out. And as you go along, you actually fill it out. And other people can see your family tree and they can identify some of the people that's on it. And that's a great way to make connections as well.
And, that is another thing. If we do this, it is about preserving.
Right.
As we started out saying, people can talk about history being erased from the books, but if that's erased from your book, I'm going to write my own book. And in writing our own book and knowing our own history, it does start with family.
Okay, let me tell you what I had stated on that part was write it down, the good, bad, and the ugly. If you don't tell your story, no one else will tell it like you can.
True.
Pass that around to maintain and relive those things at family reunions. I think of a family reunion as a family history. And now, when I first started doing this, my family member was like, especially my kids, do we have to go through this again? Yes. Every time we get together, we need to go through this because we need to be reminded. We need to know who we are. We need to be able to honor our ancestors that loved us so much. Now, one time you can have like a family history period at a family reunion or a Sunday dinner. If you have it wrote down, let everybody look at it. Y'all know anybody we need to add. Y'all, the next time y'all meet together, have a picture day. Everybody got those school pictures that they have 5 and 6 extra copies and all of that. Bring those with you, pass them out, all those extra family pictures. We have phones now. If you don't want to let your picture go, let them take a picture of it. It's no secret. Family is not a secret. And it's nothing to be holding on to. It's something to spread and let go. It's like if you love me, let me go. Let me spread my wings. Let me go. And then another one, exchange traditions and stories. There's, I have a cousin that always tell me, now, was that the lady that had the lizards on her ear? I said, girl, every time you mention that, you're the only one say that. I don't know if that's her or not, but those are family stories. That's something that she learned when she was a kid and she's sticking with it. And so every time I get around other people, I ask people, did you hear about anybody that had lizards on their ears? Just a connection. And the stories, traditions is good. Like everybody eat greens for the money on New Year's Day. I don't care if you don't eat but a spoonful of greens. You have to do that so you can have money for the rest of the year.
And your black-eyed peas for good luck.
And your black-eyed peas is good luck, but then all those Christian people tell you ain't no luck. Well, why am I eating these black-eyed peas?
And why the same people still eating them? Yes.
Yeah, so it's just fun to be able to share stories, tradition, things that you normally do. My mom used to give all my kids and all her grandkids underwear for Christmas. These kids were grown. They was 21, 22. She's still buying underwear for them for Christmas. My mama passed away, and you know what they said that Christmas? We gonna sure miss those underwear. And it was like, are you serious? All that fussing you did about it, and now you're gonna, but when she buy them in December, we don't have to buy no more until June or July, so it helped us out a lot. I said, okay, but those are
the stories you tell, because it's the feel good. It brings a smile to your face, and even hearing it brings a smile. Believe it or not, we're out of time.
Okay, then. But let me say one last thing.
What? And I was going to say, what's your one last thing?
My last thing is plan your succession. GoFundMe or chicken dinners for sale, fish dinners, are not an insurance policy. Please get your life in order. Do your trust, do your will, do your Lyndon B. Johnson, Lady Bird Act, or go ahead and do a transfer on death for your property or whatever. But do something. Don't let that be the end of you. And thank you, Brown, for inviting me.
You are welcome. Well, we have reached the end, and I always say, I always have a call to action. Get to know your own family history. And I'm going to leave you with this African proverb. As long as someone calls your name, you will never die. So know your family, know their names, call their names. Keep their names alive. See you next week.
Thank you.